Hi guys, welcome back or welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be going through a day in my life as a first year vet student. I've realised throughout this year I've done a lot of weekly vlogs, but I've not actually gone through what a day-to-day actually looks like. So I've picked to go through a Friday, which is normally a pretty busy and a pretty good day, and you'll see exactly what a first year vet student gets up to. If you like content like this, please subscribe. I'm here every single Sunday at 9 AM. Otherwise, come along. So essentially I woke up at 6:30 AM this morning. We're doing this as a voiceover because I do in fact have a roommate that probably won't appreciate me talking to myself in the middle of my room at 6:30 in the morning. Now we have this very realistic portrayal of me waking up. Just kidding. I probably look more like this in the morning. But anyway, I managed to drag myself out of bed and I will brush my teeth at about 6:45 in the morning because it takes me at least 15 to 20 minutes to actually leave my bed. And can you see just how happy I look to be awake? Now at about 7 AM I do settle down to study for the morning. I am mainly doing my daily flashcards that I like to do. I wouldn't normally do these so early in the morning. I usually wake up at about 7 AM. I also do nibble on some yogurt and berries because apparently I am a 12-year-old child that needs to bribe myself to study. So at this point it is about 8:30 in the morning and I will realize I need to leave, I'm running late. So then I will rush out the door, run down my street and go beg my friend who is also at vet school with me to drive me to the campus. And like always, I arrive just in time at about 9:50 where I quickly get changed into my coveralls to go to my class. Alright, I'm jumping in to explain my first class. I had a horse auscultation and clinical exam class. Basically, we all got given stethoscopes, had to go in, catch the horse, and essentially we had to listen to their hearts and feel their pulse and check their mucous membranes, which is just their gums. The heart was not at all what I was expecting. I've listened to a lot of dog hearts, cat hearts, and it's always really clear to hear. The second I put the stethoscope on the horse, I was genuinely confused. I thought I couldn't hear it until the instructor had to come up and say it with the tiny like "Putu." But it was so much quieter than I was expecting it to be, especially because horses are such large animals. Again, they must have gone through all the horses they had out the back because they even pulled out horses that had heart murmurs, which of course was really interesting to hear. Again, I'll insert a sound. I genuinely don't understand how equine vets are getting pretty much anything from that. And then of course feeling their pulses and everything was super cool because obviously their veins and everything are massive. And finally, mucous membranes. An interesting experience because the horse was just kind of thrashing around. But anyway, that class was about an hour and a half, and now let's go back to my voiceovers. I wrap up my class at about 11:45 AM, get back out of my now stinky overalls, which I may or may not forget to wash by the next week, at which point I was meant to go and study some more, but instead a bunch of my friends said they were driving to a cafe. So of course, guess what I ended up doing? I ended up going to a cafe and having lunch at 12:30. Everyone deserves a little side quest, sweet treat sometimes. We drove back just in time for our 2 PM class. Okay, so my second class was probably a bit less fun. I have a lot of these pathology labs where you essentially have to go into the class and you look at a lot of different diseased organs and you're meant to, you know, describe them, answer questions about what's wrong with them. Honestly, low-key, I hate them. You walk in, of course you're looking at a lot of post-mortem samples. So sometimes you're sitting there, you're staring at it, you're making up different diseases that might have caused it. You flip over the page and it just says, these signs are just because the specimen is post-mortem. So it's just you and probably 4 or 5 other vet students staring at an organ, none of you knowing what's wrong with it, and basically just taking a guess and then moving to the next station.
So good and tasty.
Anyway, that class is pretty much every single Friday afternoon, so that will almost always be exactly what I end my week on. Obviously as well when my brain is feeling completely cooked. So does a lot enter my brain? No. But anyway, that was my second class for the day. Back to my voiceover. At 4 PM we get the soonest train possible. Unfortunately, by the time I got to the train station and needed to walk home, it was pouring down. And guess who forgot their umbrella? Me. So anyway, I ended up looking like a complete wet rat trying to get home. About 5:30, I will then go for a half an hour walk. Here is my very, very realistic walking, where you can very clearly see me picking up my camera. I will usually end up eating dinner by about 7 p.m. At this point, I do nothing productive, and I will rot in that bed until about 10:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. At this point, I try to every single night get my Kindle out and read at least one chapter of a book. About 80% of the time, I will actually get into my book and I end up reading about 3 to 4 chapters, and suddenly it's midnight. But anyway, that concludes my day in the life. Thank you so much, guys. Let me know if you enjoyed seeing a day in my life rather than a week in my life. Let me know if you want to see more content like this. And of course, please subscribe if you like vet school content just like this. I upload every single Sunday at 9 a.m. And if you want to see more frequent content, I am always uploading on Instagram at Becoming Dr. Talia. Other than that, that's it, guys. Bye.